Hi everybody, this is Dino from Prehistoric Facts. This is an answering questions episode, so let's actually get right to it, shall we? We got a bunch of questions today. And so, Benjamin from Hong Kong, he's asking, and he's got a few questions here. He's asking, is Supersaurus a rare sauropod? Why does Plateosaurus have a huge thumb claws? Is Brachiosaurus the best known sauropod, and how come the fossils of Aristean believed to be from a carcharodontosaur? Well, to your first question, is Supersaurus a rare sauropod? It kind of is, because there's not a lot of Supersaurus fossils have been found. I do know that all that's found in Supersaurus is a few neck vertebrae, back vertebrae, a shoulder blade, and I think a few leg bones, both from the front, both from the forelimbs and the hind limbs. So it would be, I would say that it's probably one of the rare sauropods amongst the Morrison formation. So that kind of answers your question right there. And why does Plateosaurus have huge thumb claws? Well, when we look at the sauropodomorphs or the prosauropods, we actually see is that a lot of them do have these huge thumb claws, and they're kind of very sharply curved, and so mostly I think mostly that claw is actually going to be used for digging, possibly to dig up some digging for water, and possibly to actually pull down some leaves that are pull down some branches that are kind of a little bit too tall, kind of a little bit out of the reach for the neck and the head to actually reach. But it could also be used for defense. But even though Plateosaurus would actually use its size as its first overall weapon, then it would actually use the tail. Then third defense would actually be that thumb claw. But I think the thumb claw would actually be the third line of defense if it's in front, if the predator is right in front of it, because that's what it's going to be used for, that thumb claw. And is Brachiosaurus the best known sauropod? In a way, yes and no. I would say yes and no for on that one. And how come the fossils of Aristean believed to be from a carcharodontosaur? Because you see, sometimes paleontologists actually still debate on whether or not certain specimens are actually from a certain type of clade or type of family of animals. And so with Aristean, it is actually in the that Megaraptorian family, and so that actually kind of almost falls into the line of the carcharodontosaurs, but not really. And so sometimes when one paleontologist looks at the evidence and actually says oh, it's a Megaraptorian, but then there's another paleontologist out there that actually looks at the same evidence and actually goes oh no, this is actually a carcharodontosaurid. So sometimes that actually kind of becomes a little bit of a huge honking question on whether or not this is actually from one family or is it from another family. And so that's always a big honking debate in paleontology, is that whether or not a certain type of dinosaur belongs in a certain type of family, or any kind of animal belongs into a certain type of family. That's always a huge question in paleontology. And so it's just more likely for debate. It's just mainly for debatable purposes. All right, now Brendan from Morris, New York. Will we ever find more carcharodontosaurids in the future, since we have found many tyrannosaurids? Yeah, I would think so, considering that they are a little bit on the rare side of finding fossils. The ones that we actually know of the most is Giganotosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, and we have the basal forms like Acrocanthosaurus and Concavenator, those types, and Neovenator, those types of dinosaurs. But some of the other ones like Siach and Mapusaurus and Tyrannotitan, those are actually very rare fossils. And so I think, there's got to be more out there. They're probably more likely going to be found in the southern hemisphere more often. So like in South America, parts of Africa, maybe India, but we don't know. We still don't know. Is it possible, can we use bird DNA to resurrect dinosaurs, or is it still a process? It's more of a process than anything else. There's scientists in the University of Wisconsin that were working with Jack Horner to re-engine, to kind of like or otherwise like take genes from a chicken and actually just turn off, like take the DNA of a chicken and actually turn off certain genes in an embryo in the process when the embryo is actually developing. And so like they'll turn off like a gene for like having a short tail, and that ultimately that gene and that turned off gene will actually give that chicken a really long tail, or otherwise like turning off a gene of no teeth, and then chicken would actually have teeth, and that sort of thing. And even having primitive feathers, that's kind of the more interesting thing is that. But see, the thing is Jack Horner keeps saying that we're closer and closer to possibly doing it, to actually having like a dino bird type of animal. But really, I think it's just more of like he's just hyping it up a little bit more, because since it's not getting that much of attention anymore, and so that kind of actually is pretty much a process. But could we use bird DNA to actually resurrect dinosaurs? I don't know. That's a huge hunk of question for biologists, and biologists would actually know the answer to that. But I would say that like we can only turn off certain genes of birds to actually make them almost look like dinosaurs, but that's all we can do. And what is your favorite sauropod family? The titanosaurs, brachiosaurids, or the diplodocids? That is a really interesting question. I never thought about this. Well, I tend to actually do like the titanosaurs a little bit, but and sometimes the brachiosaurids. But I kind of actually am on the line of actually liking the diplodocids a little bit more, because since they're actually very amazing animals. They get the like really long necks, really long tails, and they don't really have tall They don't really have tall forelimbs, and a lot of people always assume that like the really tall ones are actually the ones that people really want to see. But look at Apatosaurus, Diplodocus, Brontosaurus, if it is even actually still going to be a legit species, a valid species. But yeah, I mean, there's so many out there. But I'm going to have to lean towards the diplodocids a little bit more. And Alex from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Do you think that we will find a predator that lived in North America that was bigger than T-Rex? That is interesting. Siach was actually believed to actually possibly rival T-Rex, and even there's one more that I know of, but it was only just based on a single bone, a skull bone. But I know what you're talking about. But could we find another predator in North America that could actually be larger than T-Rex? Absolutely. Probably actually have to fall into the Carcharodontosaurid family a little bit more than a Tyrannosaur or an Allosaur. But also there was a Saurophaganax that was possible to rival T-Rex in size, but really it hasn't really rivaled in T-Rex in terms of size, and so pretty much T-Rex still holds the record for actually being one of the largest predatory dinosaurs of North America, and it is still considered the largest predator to ever live in North America. And then your final question. What are the chances of finding a predator that was bigger than today's biggest predator, Spinosaurus? Well, there is a certain thing that actually happens in biology, is that once you reach a certain size, you just can't get any bigger. And so in terms of Spinosaurus, it is actually a over 50 foot long animal and would actually weigh around 9 tons. And so, could there be a predatory dinosaur, that would actually be bigger than Spinosaurus? My best estimation with that and best guess with that, it would probably be no. Because first, even though never say never, I would say that Spinosaurus would actually be the threshold. It would actually be the threshold of basically how big a predatory dinosaur can get. And so when you actually have an animal that is actually between 50 to 60 feet long, I think that's how big they're going to get. And I don't think we're ever going to find a 100-foot long predatory dinosaur because that's way too big. Because then that would rival all the sauropods that have actually existed. And so I would say that it would. I'd say it's a very slim chance, very slim, less than 1%, that we would actually find a predatory dinosaur that is bigger than Spinosaurus. Even though never say never, could there be like a 70-foot long predator? You never know. Never know. But I would actually say it would still fall in the line of a Spinosaur than anything else. It could actually be the largest Spinosaurus that actually ever lived. But that's pretty much up in the air right now. But I would say that Spinosaurus would actually be the threshold. All right, that's it for now. Now, the next episode, I'm going to be very little secretive about that. So I will let you guys know when that episode would actually be aired. It would actually happen sometime next week, and so I will let you guys know. So keep on tabs with that. And if you got any questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinochrist71@gmail.com. Or just go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you actually post your questions on the wall or in the comments section. But remember, keep your questions short and to the point. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. And all you YouTubers that are subscribed to me, feel free to actually leave your questions and comments in the comments section, and I read all of them. I actually check up on those, and that mean a lot to me. And also, all of you YouTubers that are out there that actually are kind of actually seeing some of my videos, feel free to actually hit the subscribe button, and also hit the bell, so that way you can actually keep up to date with all the videos that I actually upload, and that means a lot. And also hit the thumbs up to actually like the video and keep the channel going. And so that's actually going to be awesome. And so, anyway, and you can still take care of the people around you. And also for younger people out there, to make sure you listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you can have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. So with a good education, get a good job in the future. Now, this weekend, I will be in a certain place that will actually have certain dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals in their fossil hall. So I'm actually going to go see this museum, and I would actually possibly see a dinosaur that I've seen before, and I'm very excited about it. And so, that actually possibly could be that episode next week. So stay tuned for that. And anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.